I hope everybody had a great weekend. It's July 1st, 2014. That's 3 days before Independence Day. Yay! Which means the carnival is open for those of you on base pretty soon. Look it up. It's going to be at the parade field. I'll talk more about that later. We're going to turn to the Bible here. 1 Corinthians 3-4. Talks about pretty much leadership, taking stride, taking things in hand with a grain of sand, as God would have it. Be 1 Corinthians 2-3, chapter 3. Brothers, I cannot talk to you as spiritual people, but as fleshly people, as infants in Christ. I fed you milk, not solid food, because you were unable to take it. Indeed, you are still not able to even now. For you are still of the flesh, while there is jealousy and rivalry amongst you. And you are not of the flesh of behaving in ordinary human way. Whenever someone says, I belong to Paul, and another, I belong to apostles, and you are not merely human. The role of God's ministers. What is Apollos? After all, what is Paul's ministers? Through when you have become believers, just as the Lord assigned each one, I planted, Apollos watered. But God answered the growth. Therefore, neither the one who plants nor the one who waters in anything, but only God, who causes the growth. The one who plants and the one who waters are equal, and each will receive wages in proportion to his labor. For we are God's co-workers. You are God's field, God's building. According to the grace of God given to me, like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation, and another is a building upon it. But each one must be careful how he builds upon it, for no one can lay a foundation other than the one there is another, namely Jesus Christ. If anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, or straw, the work of each will come to light, for the day will disclose it. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each one's work. If the work stands that someone built upon the foundation, that the person will receive a wage. But if someone's work is burned up, that will suffer the loss, that the person will be saved, but only as through fire. Do you not know that you are the temple of God, that the Spirit of God dwells to you and in you? Question mark. Think about that. If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person, for the temple of God which you are is holy. Let no one deceive himself. If anyone is amongst you consider himself wise in this age, let him become a fool, so that to become wise. For the wisdom of the word is foolishness in the eyes of God, for it is written, He catches the wise in their own ruses. And again, the Lord knows the thoughts of wise, and they are vain. So let no one boast about human beings, for everything belongs to you. Paul or Apollos, or Cephas, as the Greek words, or the world of life or death, and present of the future will belong to you. You to Christ, and Christ to God. That's one chapter. Next we'll go to 2 Corinthians 8-10. That's 2 Corinthians. You turn to 2 Corinthians 8-10. Chapter 9. God's indescribable gift. It starts off. Now about the service to the holy ones, it's superfluous for me to write to you, for I know your eagerness, about which I boast of you. To the Macedonians, the Achaians, have been ready since last year, and your zeal has stirred up most of them. Nothing less, I sent the brothers that all our boast about you might not prove empty. In this case, you might be ready, as I said, for fear if any Macedonians come with me and find you not ready, you might be put to shame, and to say nothing of you in this conviction. So I thought it's necessary to encourage the brothers to go on ahead, and you arrange in advance for your promised gifts, so that in this way it might be ready as bountiful gift as not as an exaction. Consider this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. Though you reap what you sow. And whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each must do it to already be determined, without sadness or compulsion for God's love. A cheerful giver. Moreover, answer God is able to make every grace abundant for you, so that in all things always having all you need, you may have abundance for every God's good work. As it is written, He scattered abroad, He gives to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. The one who supplies seed to the sower and for food, bread for food, will multiply your seed and increase the harvest of your righteousness. You know, you farmers out there, you should think about that one, because it's true. You are being enriched in every way for all generosity which God produces, thanksgiving to God. For the administration of this public service is not only supplying the needs of the little ones, but is also overflowing in many acts of thanksgiving to God. Through the evidence of this service, you are glorified by God, through God, for your obedient confession of the gospel of Christ and the generosity of contribution to them. And all of this is followed in prayer on behalf. They long for you, because of the surpassing grace upon you. Thanks be to God for His incredible gift. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God be with you wherever you are in the world. After all, peace is better than more. I'll explain more on those two passages here. Make it attractive. Colossians 4-2 through 6. The story is told of a young boy who during a bygone era was aboard a passenger train attempting to make money selling apples. He made his way through the train car saying, "Apples, would you like to buy an apple?" Question. When he got to the rear of the car, he still had a bag full of apples and no money. A gentleman who noticed this plight took him aside and asked to see one of the apples. He proceeded to go to the front of the train, polish it conspicuously with a napkin, and then walk down the aisle eating the apple, commenting on how delicious and refreshing it was. Then he told the boy to try it again. This time he sold every apple. The difference? Question. How does this one sell so many apples after a second try of not selling anything the first time around? The apples you may have been made attractive to the potential customer, thus by eating an apple. This story can remind us of one way we can interest others in the gospel of Jesus Christ. Make it attractive to them. Show them the difference it has made in our own lives. We each all have examples in that area. Nobody's perfect. Make it attractive to them show them the difference it's made in our own lives. That has been done by the following words of Paul in Colossians. Turn to Colossians 4-5 as you read. Be wise, he said, in the way you act toward outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. If we show kindness, love, and compassion to others, those who observe us will wonder why, and they may give us an opening to tell them about the beauty of God's love for them. That is why. Dear God, you have given us so much by providing our salvation. Help us to make the gospel attractive to others by the way we shine Jesus' light on those who we encounter each day. Next chapter, turn to 2 Peter 1-2 through 11. In William Zessner's book on writing well, he explains, he says that many writers suffer from this. It's an example of the passage. So as you read what I'm reading here, it would explain a few points. Writing well, he says that many writers suffer from the tyranny of final product, as most authors writing books. They are so concerned with selling their article or book, they neglect learning the process of how to think, plan, and organize a jumbled manuscript. Zissner believes it is produced when the writer, his eye on the finish line, never gave enough thought to how to run the race. Author and minister A.W. Tozer applies, that's T-O-Z-E-R, applies that the principle to our spiritual life in his book, The Root of the Righteousness. Tozer describes our tendency to be concerned only with fruit and ignore the root out which the fruit sprang. The Apostle Peter reminded first century believers that Christ-like living and effective service results from a process. He urged them to grow. That's based on his thinking of life while trying to put something together. Church-like living and effective service result from a process. He urged them to grow in 8 areas of spiritual development: faith, virtue, knowledge, self-control, perseverance, godliness, brotherly kindness, and love. That's in 2 Peter 1-5 through 7 in the Holy Bible. If you possess these qualities in reading that passage, think about those qualities. In increasing measure, Peter said, you will be neither barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. Volume 8. God calls us to a wonderful process of learning to know Him, with assurance that it will lead to our productive service in His name and in His honor. Lord, so often we complete and perfect solutions here and now, but you work gracefully in your good time. Let your goodness and patience and virtue shine through us, so that we may bless others. That goes without saying, thinking of others before yourself. If you read that passage 2 Peter 1-2 through 11, you'll understand that meaning while reading that meaning. God be with you wherever you are in the world. After all, most nation leaders can agree peace is better than war. Remember another thing, you got to have faith, hope, love every time you wake up. Because in the morning when you are awake, you can get up and get out of bed, you're breathing, you're not seeing green wheat fields, you're not seeing clouds floating around you, you're obviously not dead yet. So consider yourself very blessed. Make the most of it. There are many in hospitals right now, I kid you, not even kids, who wish that mommy and daddy have one more year, one more chance, one more miracle for the love of God, because I always tell it like it is, knowing exactly how that kid is feeling right now, that wish they had one more year. So when you wake up in the morning, you think you have it hard. You look outside around you, you pay a visit to one of them hospitals, and you look at those people in the eye very, very clearly. You look at those people very sternly. Because if it weren't for them and those who perform miracles every day, those people in them hospital beds wouldn't have sure as heck chance, except miracles by praying. As long as you pray and have faith in all your heart and all your will, nothing else could ever go wrong. I always tell it like it is. Having so much respect for people in the medical field, because if it weren't for them, those patients would be up a creek without a paddle. That's for darn sure. Unless some brand new home remedy came along that just cured everything, which one day I pray for happens. One day there'll be a cure for all cancer, where nobody will ever suffer ever again. So if you think about that, when you walk outside, if you see somebody in a wheelchair walking with one leg, you best move your hind parts over there and open the front door. Be kind to them. Think about this. What if that was you? That's how I was raised. Better haul rear. Show them some respect. After all, they're just as human as you are. Much love to all you out there. Just because someone is blind, can't hear, is deaf, has a speech impairment problem, that doesn't make them any less than we are. In God's eyes, we're all equal, at least in mine. I say that with meaning. I say that with principle. I say that with integrity. I say that with a heart. Because in my eyes, I treat everyone around me, regardless of what they think, what goes through their mind during the day, like family. That's how I was raised. Family of medical people. People who care about other people. So don't you forget that. If you want respect, you gotta earn it. Trust me. I don't have time for ignorance. I have time for friendship and family. There's a meaning behind that. Kindness goes a long way. Be kind to others as they are to you, especially in the eyes of a child. I felt way on the other side of this world, sitting there crying because they missed their parents so much. They'd rather cry. It's not till she picks him up or her up, then they stop crying. That is the love of a child as they spoke to the meaning of children in the last weekend's passage. So, watch your health. Respect one another. It goes a long ways. That's what people remember you as. That's what people define you as character-wise. And remember the very heart of you. People remember people who are thoughtful, not people who are selfish or inconsiderate just because of someone's different race, what have you. That's an example. Much love. So much respect for life. So live yours. Again, there are many people who wish they could. Honor them by living it. Live your life. Much love. See you next weekend. Study those Bible passages. You'll be alright.